Have you ever wondered about the far-reaching influence of the Vatican? This small city-state, nestled in the heart of Rome, Italy, has played a significant role in shaping world events for centuries. Despite its size, the Vatican wields immense power and influence that extends far beyond its borders, touching the lives of millions of people around the globe. In this video, we will delve into the fascinating history, intricate power structures, and global impact of the Vatican, exploring how this unique entity has become a force to be reckoned with on the international stage. To understand the Vatican's influence, we must first look at its rich history and the circumstances that led to its establishment as an independent city-state. The Vatican's origins can be traced back to the early days of Christianity, when the Apostle Peter, considered the first pope, arrived in Rome. As Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire, the Bishop of Rome, later known as the Pope, began to gain prominence and authority within the Church. Over time, the popes acquired territorial possessions in and around Rome, laying the foundation for what would become the Papal States. These territories were governed by the popes and provided them with a level of political autonomy. However, the Papal States faced numerous challenges and conflicts throughout history, including invasions, wars, and power struggles with other European rulers. A turning point came in 1870 when the Italian unification movement led to the annexation of the Papal States by the newly formed Kingdom of Italy. This event left the Pope without temporal power and confined to the Vatican. To resolve this issue, the Lateran Treaty was signed in 1929 between the Holy See and the Italian government, establishing the Vatican as an independent city-state. This agreement also granted the Pope's sovereignty over the Vatican and secured the Church's independence from Italian political control. Today, the Vatican is the smallest independent nation in the world, with a population of around 1,000 people. It has its own government, laws, postal system, and even a small army known as the Swiss Guard, which is responsible for the Pope's security and the protection of the Vatican. Despite its small size, the Vatican's unique political status and its role as the headquarters of the Catholic Church give it a level of influence that belies its physical dimensions. At the heart of the Vatican's power and influence is the figure of the Pope, who serves as both the head of the Catholic Church and the sovereign of the Vatican city-state. The Pope is considered the successor of St. Peter and the Vicar of Christ on earth, making him the spiritual leader of the world's 1.3 billion Catholics. The Pope's authority within the Church is derived from the doctrine of papal supremacy, which holds that the Pope has supreme power over the Church and its teachings. This power includes the ability to define Church doctrine, appoint bishops and cardinals, and make decisions on matters of faith and morals. The Pope's pronouncements on these issues are considered infallible, meaning that they are believed to be free from error when made in a specific context. Beyond his spiritual role, the Pope also wields significant political influence. As the head of the Vatican city-state, the Pope engages in diplomatic relations with countries around the world and is often involved in international affairs. Popes have played mediating roles in conflicts, advocated for peace and human rights, and used their moral authority to influence global decision-making. The Pope's influence extends to the daily lives of Catholics worldwide, who look to him for guidance and leadership. His statements and actions on social, moral, and political issues can shape public opinion and inspire change within the Church and beyond. For example, Pope Francis, the current Pope, has made headlines for his progressive stances on issues like climate change, poverty, and immigration, challenging traditional attitudes and sparking dialogue within the Church. The Catholic Church itself is a vast and complex institution with a hierarchical structure that includes bishops, priests, and religious orders. The Church's teachings, traditions, and sacraments form the basis of Catholic faith and practice, influencing the lives of believers in countless ways. The Church's global presence, with parishes and dioceses in nearly every country, allows it to have a direct impact on local communities and to shape social and cultural norms. One of the key ways in which the Vatican exerts its influence on the world stage is through its diplomatic relations. The Holy See, which is the official name for the government of the Catholic Church, maintains diplomatic ties with 183 countries, making it the second-largest diplomatic network in the world after the United Nations. The Vatican's diplomatic corps, known as the Apostolic Nunciature, is responsible for representing the interests of the Holy See in countries around the world. Papal nuncios, who are essentially ambassadors of the Vatican, engage in diplomatic activities such as negotiating concordats, agreements between the Church and a state, promoting peace and human rights, and fostering interreligious dialogue. The Vatican's diplomatic efforts have played a significant role in shaping world events. For example, during the Cold War, the Vatican was instrumental in promoting dialogue between the United States and the Soviet Union, helping to ease tensions and pave the way for the eventual end of the conflict. More recently, the Vatican has been involved in mediating conflicts in countries like Venezuela, Colombia, and the Central African Republic, using its moral authority to bring parties to the negotiating table. In addition to its bilateral diplomatic relations, the Vatican is also actively involved in multilateral organizations. The Holy See has the status of a permanent observer state at the United Nations, which allows it to participate in UN meetings and conferences, but not to vote on resolutions. The Vatican uses this platform to advocate for issues that are important to the Church, such as the promotion of peace, the protection of human rights, and the eradication of poverty. The Vatican is also a member of various international organizations, such as the International Atomic Energy Agency and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Through these affiliations, the Vatican works to promote its values and interests on a global scale, collaborating with other nations to address pressing international issues. While the Vatican's spiritual and political influence is well known, its financial power is often less discussed. However, the Vatican is a significant economic entity with a complex network of financial institutions and investments that extend far beyond the confines of the Vatican city-state. At the heart of the Vatican's financial system is the Institute for the Works of Religion, commonly known as the Vatican Bank. Established in 1942, the Vatican Bank is a private financial institution that serves the Catholic Church and its affiliated organizations. The bank's primary function is to provide financial services to Catholic institutions worldwide, including the management of assets, the transfer of funds, and the facilitation of charitable donations. The Vatican Bank has been the subject of controversy over the years, with allegations of money laundering, tax evasion, and other financial improprieties. In recent decades, the Vatican has taken steps to increase transparency and accountability in its financial dealings, implementing anti-money laundering regulations and cooperating with international authorities to combat financial crimes. Beyond the Vatican Bank, the Holy See also has a significant investment portfolio, which includes real estate holdings, stocks, and bonds. These investments are managed by the administration of the patrimony of the Apostolic See, which is responsible for overseeing the Vatican's financial assets. The Vatican's financial power allows it to support its various charitable and missionary activities around the world. The Catholic Church is one of the largest providers of education, healthcare, and social services globally, with a vast network of schools, hospitals, orphanages, and relief organizations. The Vatican's financial resources help to sustain these efforts, enabling the Church to continue its work in serving the poor and vulnerable. The Vatican is not only a center of religious and political power, but also a treasure trove of art and culture. The Vatican museums, which were founded in the early 16th century, house one of the world's most extensive and valuable collections of art, spanning from ancient Roman sculptures to Renaissance masterpieces. The crown jewel of the Vatican museums is the Sistine Chapel, famous for its breathtaking frescoes painted by Michelangelo. The chapel's ceiling, which depicts scenes from the Book of Genesis, is considered one of the greatest artistic achievements of all time. The Last Judgment, another fresco by Michelangelo, adorns the chapel's altar wall, depicting Christ's second coming and the final judgment of humanity. Other notable works of art in the Vatican museums include the Raphael Rooms, a series of frescoes painted by the Italian Renaissance master Raphael, the Laocoon, an ancient Greek sculpture depicting a scene from the Trojan War, and the Gallery of Maps, a series of topographical maps of Italy commissioned by Pope Gregory XVI in the 16th century. The Vatican's art collection is not only a testament to the Church's patronage of the arts, but also a reflection of its power and influence throughout history. Many of the works in the Vatican museums were commissioned by popes or acquired through the Church's extensive network of contacts and resources. In addition to its art collection, the Vatican is also home to numerous architectural wonders, including St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church in the world. The basilica, which was designed by some of the greatest architects of the Renaissance and Baroque periods, including Michelangelo and Bernini, is a testament to the church's grandeur and ambition. The Vatican's cultural riches have made it a major tourist destination, attracting millions of visitors each year. Tourism is a significant source of revenue for the Vatican, helping to support its various activities and initiatives. The influx of tourists also provides an opportunity for the Vatican to showcase its art and architecture, promoting its cultural heritage to a global audience. One of the most visible and impactful aspects of the Vatican's influence is its extensive charitable work and social outreach. The Catholic Church is one of the largest charitable organizations in the world, with a vast network of institutions and programs dedicated to serving the poor, the sick, and the marginalized. Catholic charities and relief organizations operate in nearly every country, providing essential services and support to those in need. These organizations run schools, hospitals, orphanages, shelters, and food banks, among other initiatives, serving millions of people worldwide. One of the most prominent Catholic charitable organizations is Caritas Internationalis, a confederation of over 160 national Catholic relief and development agencies. Caritas works to promote social justice, alleviate poverty, and respond to humanitarian crises around the world. Its efforts include emergency relief, long-term development projects, and advocacy for policies that benefit the poor and vulnerable. The Vatican also plays a significant role in shaping social and moral norms through its teachings and public statements. The Pope and other church leaders regularly address social issues such as poverty, inequality, war, and human rights, using their moral authority to influence public opinion and policy. The Catholic Church has long been a vocal advocate for the rights of workers and the dignity of labor. The Church's social teachings, which are rooted in the idea of the common good and the preferential option for the poor, have inspired movements for social justice and economic reform around the world. In recent years, the Vatican has also become increasingly vocal about environmental issues, recognizing the urgent need to address climate change and protect the planet. Pope Francis's 2015 encyclical Laudato Si called for a global response to the ecological crisis and emphasized the moral imperative to care for the earth and its inhabitants. The Vatican's social influence extends beyond its official statements and teachings. The lives and examples of Catholic saints, leaders, and activists have inspired countless individuals to work for social change and to serve others. Figures like St. Mother Teresa, who dedicated her life to serving the poorest of the poor in India, and St. Oscar Romero, who advocated for the rights of the oppressed in El Salvador, have become powerful symbols of the Church's commitment to social justice. While the Vatican's influence and contributions to the world are significant, it has also faced numerous controversies and criticisms throughout its history. These issues have ranged from doctrinal disputes and power struggles to more recent scandals involving sexual abuse and financial impropriety. One of the most significant and damaging controversies facing the Vatican in recent years has been the sexual abuse crisis within the Catholic Church. Revelations of widespread sexual abuse by priests and other church officials, as well as cover-ups and failures to address the issue, have rocked the Church and eroded public trust in its institutions. The Vatican has faced intense criticism for its handling of the sexual abuse crisis, with many accusing church leaders of prioritizing the protection of the institution over the well-being of victims. In response to these criticisms, the Vatican has taken steps to address the issue, including implementing stricter policies for handling abuse allegations and holding church officials accountable for their actions. Another area of controversy for the Vatican has been its stance on social and moral issues, particularly those related to sexuality, gender, and reproduction. The Church's teachings on contraception, abortion, same-sex marriage, and transgender rights have been the subject of intense debate and criticism, both within and outside the Church. Critics argue that the Vatican's positions on these issues are outdated, discriminatory, and out of touch with the realities of modern life. They point to the Church's opposition to contraception and abortion as contributing to poverty, maternal mortality, and the spread of HIV/AIDS, particularly in developing countries. The Vatican has also faced criticism for its handling of internal power struggles and its lack of transparency in decision-making processes. The highly centralized and hierarchical structure of the Church, combined with the Vatican's culture of secrecy, has led to concerns about accountability and the potential for abuse of power. Financial controversies have also plagued the Vatican, with allegations of money laundering, tax evasion, and mismanagement of funds. The Vatican Bank, in particular, has been the subject of numerous scandals and investigations over the years, leading to efforts to increase transparency and accountability in the Vatican's financial dealings. In light of the various controversies and criticisms faced by the Vatican, there have been ongoing efforts to reform and modernize the institution in recent years. These efforts have aimed to address the Church's challenges, adapt to the changing needs of the faithful, and restore public trust in the institution. One of the most significant reform efforts in recent years has been the Vatican's response to the sexual abuse crisis. Under the leadership of Pope Francis, the Vatican has taken steps to increase transparency, accountability, and support for victims. This has included the establishment of a Commission for the Protection of Minors, the implementation of new guidelines for handling abuse allegations, and the organization of a historic summit on sexual abuse in 2019. Pope Francis has also sought to reform the Vatican's financial institutions, particularly the Vatican Bank. He has appointed new leadership, increased oversight, and implemented stricter regulations to combat money laundering and other financial crimes. These efforts have helped to increase transparency and restore confidence in the Vatican's financial dealings. In addition to these specific reforms, the Vatican has also been working to modernize its communications and outreach efforts. This has included the development of a more robust online presence, the use of social media to engage with the faithful, and the creation of new initiatives to promote interfaith dialogue and collaboration. The Vatican has also been increasingly vocal on issues of social justice, poverty, and the environment, recognizing the need to address these pressing global challenges. Pope Francis's encyclical on the environment, Laudato Si', has been a significant step in this direction, calling for a global response to the ecological crisis and emphasizing the moral imperative to care for the earth and its inhabitants. Despite these efforts, the Vatican still faces significant challenges in adapting to the modern world. The Church's teachings on social and moral issues, particularly those related to sexuality and gender, remain a source of controversy and division. The highly centralized and hierarchical structure of the Church can also make change difficult and slow-moving. As the Vatican navigates the challenges of the modern world, its future role and influence remain uncertain. The institution faces significant headwinds, including declining religious affiliation in many parts of the world, growing secularization, and ongoing controversies and criticisms. However, the Vatican also has significant strengths and opportunities. Its global reach, extensive charitable networks, and moral authority give it a unique platform to address pressing global issues and promote positive change. The Church's teachings on social justice, human dignity, and the common good remain a powerful force for good in the world, inspiring individuals and communities to work for a more just and equitable society. To remain relevant and effective in the years to come, the Vatican will need to continue its efforts to reform and modernize, while also staying true to its core values and mission. This will require a delicate balance between tradition and innovation, as well as a willingness to engage with diverse perspectives and adapt to changing circumstances. The future of the Vatican will also depend on its ability to address the challenges and controversies of the past and present. The Church will need to continue its efforts to address the sexual abuse crisis, increase transparency and accountability, and rebuild trust with the faithful and the wider public. At the same time, the Vatican must also find ways to engage with the pressing issues of our time, from climate change and poverty to conflict and human rights abuses. By leveraging its moral authority and global reach, the Vatican can play a vital role in promoting dialogue, fostering collaboration, and advocating for the common good. Ultimately, the future of the Vatican will be shaped by the choices and actions of its leaders and members, as well as the broader social, cultural, and political forces at play in the world. While the challenges are significant, the potential for positive change is also great, and the Vatican has a unique opportunity to shape a more just, peaceful, and sustainable future for all. In this video, we have explored the fascinating history, power structures, and global influence of the Vatican. From its humble beginnings as a small community of Christians in Rome to its current status as a major player on the world stage, the Vatican has had a profound impact on the course of human history. We have seen how the Vatican's influence extends far beyond the confines of its small city-state, touching the lives of millions of Catholics around the world through its spiritual leadership, charitable works, and social teachings. We have also examined the Vatican's diplomatic efforts, financial power, and cultural riches, which have helped to shape global events and norms. However, we have also acknowledged the controversies and criticisms that have plagued the Vatican throughout its history, from